Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's a beautiful 25th of August, 2024. Come to this episode of the Crusty Podcast, episode 304. Safe, versus taxed. Yes, the ongoing onslaught and contradictions brought to our government in regards to smoking bad things and injecting bad things. Tisk, tisk, tisk. All that and more. Come to the podcast. Please stick around. Listener view discretion is advised because I might smoke something and I might swear a bit and just speak my mind as per. See you in a bit.
Hit it, sweetheart. Because I am hard, you will not like me. Yes, sir. There is no racial bigotry here. Here you are all equally worthless.
From Western Canada, this is the Crusty Canuck Podcast, a Canadian veteran's point of view on political, social, economic issues and life. Here's Crusty.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 304 of the Crusty Podcast. Safe, versus tax. Yes, hello, everybody. How's everyone doing? Hope you're enjoying your weekend so far. I'm back to work. Just a reminder, if you like and hear what you see, please click like and subscribe. Share this content on all your social media platforms. Do not be shy, ladies and gentlemen. And just as a reminder, too, this podcast is brought to you in part by and supported by Veterans for Freedom Network. That's right, Stand 2, Veterans for Freedom. And coming soon, Veterans for Freedom TV, Stand 2. Stand by for that, ladies and gentlemen. Hi, everybody. I'm your host, Crusty Canuck. Thank you very much once again to everyone who has sent me some warm comments on my videos and my last podcast. Thank you. You guys are awesome. Big round of applause. All that good stuff, when we get to it. There you go. And thank you once again to everyone out there who has given me a thumbs up on my latest shorts and everything too. I'm trying some new software out, so I hope it's satisfactory. Needless to say, I'm keep plugging away at it. But like the title card says here, ladies and gentlemen, safe versus tax. Now, I know there's certain words on this algorithm that is not really allowed, but I really don't care. Okay, you know me. You've heard me talk about cigarette smoking and all this good stuff. Now, I am not one to recommend anyone start the habit. Okay, I am not going to sit here and promote it and make it look cool because it's not cool. It's my filthy, disgusting habits. My wife's filthy, disgusting habit. We're both smokers. Oh, my God. But shit happens. Okay. Now, I remember in high school, they used to encourage us not to smoke cigarettes. They used to encourage us not to do this, not to do that. Of course, every generation has had that gap where people have said, don't do this, don't do that, don't try this, don't try that. And people are going to do it anyway. Now, when we look at the crisis that's going on in our countries today, Canada, and especially the United States too, when it comes to the opioid issue, the epidemic that started off, and now we've got people handing it out. Okay, here's a contrast here. Okay, now, like I said in my title card, safe versus taxed. Now, when you buy a pack of these, okay, that's right, cigarettes. I said the word cigarettes. Oh my goodness. Can't have that kind of behavior now. Oh, no. Heaven forbid. When you buy cigarettes, okay, now I actually talked to a store owner, okay, where I get my smokes, and he says he gets about $1.50, $1.60 a pack. Okay, that's the profit he makes. He also has to pay for the product to sell in the store. Now, the tobacco companies get anywhere from about $3 to $4 a package. Okay, maybe a bit more, give or take a few cents wherever you may live in the country. It doesn't matter. And every little item is priced differently. So tubes, if you make your own, pouches of tobacco. I remember when I was a teenager, you could get a pouch of tobacco for roughly $6. Okay, and a pack of papers, rolling papers, for I think 50 cents. Okay, so that was my tobacco for the whole week. I used to roll my own cigarettes. You might be thinking I used to roll other things too. Oh, wait for it. Some cases I did, but that's a different story. Anyway, make a long story short, it was relatively inexpensive to have a cigarette, right? It was relatively inexpensive to get cheap alcohol. It was relatively inexpensive to have things like coffee and tea and Coca-Cola and Pepsi-Cola and all these other sugary drinks that every little kid likes to enjoy. Now, you see the contrast now when it comes to health and safety and all this stuff. I can understand how the federal and provincial governments do not want young people to inhale, young people to buy said products and do nasty things. Now, I'm going to read an article here in regards to what Mr. Holland, our health minister, our federal health minister, of the Liberal Party has to say. Okay. Now, this is just a blurb from the Globe and Mail. Now, I'm not going to purchase the Globe and Mail. I think that rag is somewhat, disingenuous. But here's a little blurb that comes from a story that was in the Globe and Mail in regards to Mr. Holland's stance towards tobacco for young people. Okay. I'll just cue this up here, make it a little more understandable. Okay. And thanks to the fine people, I think it was from Canada Proud, who put this together. Anyhow, Trudeau's Health Minister Mark Holland just issued new regulations which ban most nicotine pouch flavors, ban convenience stores from selling nicotine pouches, and it's from the same government which gives out free opioids. So there's an item on the market, okay, ladies and gentlemen, there's an item on the market that is, aimed at younger people. Nicotine flavored pouches, different varieties. Now, I've never tried them myself. Basically, you just get a little pouch of nicotine, you stick it in your mouth, and it's a substitute for cigarettes. Now, it's not as safe, it's not safe, okay? Nicotine pouches in your face can lead to other things, other terrible things. However, okay, they want to ban it, okay? They want to ban that tobacco. They want to ban that variety. Now, like I said, this costs the store about $1.50. They might make $1.50 off each pack, or $1.60, whatever, $2 in some cases. And the tobacco companies get their fair share. Now, get this though, okay? Provincial and federal governments take a big chunk. Now, this pack here, okay, cost me about $12, $13. Other parts of the country, you're looking at $14, $15. Okay, a king size package of 25, you're looking at anywhere from $17, $18. So you're looking at roughly $6, okay, for the provincial, and $6 for the federal government. Bigger packages, you're looking at maybe $7 for the federal government and $7 for the provincial government. So needless to say, the tax racket, the revenue alone on tobacco is outstanding for both governments, because the excuse of that tax is for healthcare. So if you do get the big C, oh my goodness, right? You're supposedly looked after in hospital because of that, because of your stupid decisions when it comes to tobacco. Now, my body, my choice. Your body, your choice. Okay. Young kids are going to puff. Young kids are going to vape. They're going to smoke. They're going to do whatever they want. Okay. That's life. That's just a rite of passage. And I don't know how many times the government has stepped in my lifetime and said, you shouldn't do this and you shouldn't do that, as they start, paying it forward when you got to pay more. So when it comes to, let's say, things like coffee, that's a drug. When it comes to things like tobacco, that's a drug. When it comes to certain colas and certain energy drinks, when it comes to certain, enhancements, it's a drug. Now, we all know what's going on with the crisis here in this country when it comes to drugs. Okay. How many people, show of hands, have seen people strung out in their main streets in every major town or every major city in this country? Anyone? My American friends, how many people have you seen in the major cities who have been strung out? Okay. And I'm not saying down on their luck. I'm not saying, they're desperate. I mean, they're free access to certain narcotics. Okay. Which is paid for by the taxpayer, by the way. So I got to pay taxes to have a cigarette and possibly give myself a big C. But if I decide to go do something different, some other chemical perhaps, or some other kind of speed or jolt of some sort, I get that for free. Is that the logic, folks? Is that the logic? I mean, I tell you, just like Forrest Gump says, right? Stupid is, stupid does.
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
And you're back, ladies and gentlemen, with the Crusty Podcast. Safe versus taxed. I'm your host, Crusty. If you'd like to hear you see, please click like and subscribe. Share this content on all of your social media platforms. Don't be shy. And if you feel like donating, check my description out for donation links too. Every little bit helps, ladies and gentlemen. Wonderful people like yourself make that a reality. So please consider donating today if you can. As Tabacco says, safe versus tax. Now, it's unsafe to be addicted to anything. Okay. Now, I've done marijuana. I've smoked marijuana. I've eaten marijuana. In my youth, I did some shrooms. Didn't really like it. But the consensus was in those days was you smoke cigarettes and you scam some beer, you scam some cheap booze, or you scam whatever you can. And whatever your older friends can buy at the time. Pull your money together, go out on a Friday night, go to a dance, have a couple of drinks. Go to someone else's house and party, or somewhere else and have a few drinks and just hang out and be kids. So when I see and hear the government trying to crack down on these wonderful things, this is just hearsay. This is nothing but scapegoating. Okay. And it's not helping anyone. Right. So I got to pay tax to have a puff on my own time, but you don't pay tax on a lethal narcotic. That's what it comes down to. Priorities, right? You know, if they want people to get better and get off of things, there should be a little more incentive to do so, right? How many places have you seen that help alcoholics? How many places have you seen that help people with anger issues or learning disabilities? You know, sure, they're all government funded. Sometimes they're privately funded. However, when you look at our federal government and the way they're promoting this dilemma, you know, they'd rather give teenagers a hard time for having certain flavor pouches, for crying out loud. Meanwhile, you can go in any major city in this country, see someone hung out and drooping over a parking meter, or sitting there all twisted, talking to spirits, talking to themselves, or talking to whoever, taking a dump on the street, but that's fine. You know, don't do this, kids, but hey, stick something in your eyeball and hope you can see psychedelia. Like, priorities here are just relentless. Anyway, I'm going to play a little video here from our health minister, Mr. Mark Holland, in his regards to the climate too. Even though those are certain words we cannot use because the algorithm and everything, but that's up to you, my wonderful audience. This is a tweet that has come from Mr. Holland back in May. Now, he's the guy that wants to stop young people from using nicotine pouches. However, this is his logic when it comes to the climate, when it comes to the so-called climate crisis. You decide, ladies and gentlemen.
The Honorable Minister of Health. Mr. Speaker, good news, kids. You can take a summer fun time vacation where you're locked in a car for 10 consecutive days, nonstop with no bathroom breaks. And the Conservatives have a plan for you to have that summertime fun. And the cost? Give up the future of the planet, right? Don't worry, kids, about climate change. Don't worry about taking action on the planet. Enjoy your 10 hours in the car and let the planet burn.
That's a pretty bad tie there, Mark. Now, think about it. Here's a guy that's the federal health minister looking after all of our health, making sure everything's tickety-boo and hunky-dory. Don't do this, kids. Don't put this in your mouth. Don't you smoke this. Don't you inhale that. But hey, if you get in a car and go on a holiday, planet's burning, how dare you be so selfish? Oh, my goodness. That's the logic of this government. Okay. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, I will reiterate, I am not going to encourage anyone to do something with their health. I'm not going to encourage anyone to pick up a nasty habit and do it. Think for yourselves, okay? But you know as well as everybody else, everybody around you, that when you're a kid, you do things. You try things out. You try this, you try that. There's guys I went to school with that haven't touched a cigarette since 1995. Some haven't touched a cigarette since 2000, et cetera, et cetera. So that doesn't mean they're any less. That doesn't mean they're stupid. That doesn't mean they're insufficient. And that doesn't mean that teenage boys and girls out there are stupid. Moronic sometimes? Sure. Ignorant, naive? Yes. That's just the rite of passage. That's just life. I didn't know a goddamn thing when I was 17. I sure as hell didn't know a goddamn thing at 18. And I was starting to wake up somewhat a bit at 19. But you still had to get out in the world and try things out and do things for yourself. And the last thing I needed then was the government telling me, don't you do this, don't you do that. Considering the financial crisis we are in right now, considering the cost of living, the immigration problems, and just the buffoonery that's bestowed on us, and every time we have to deal with strikes that we hear, apparently the CN strike or the CN and the CP strike is not going to happen. They're being ordered to work as of tomorrow. Okay, fine. But it goes to prove how unions are so corrupt in this country. Okay. So there's a lot of buffoonery being handed to us on a daily basis. Okay. A lot of buffoonery is being presented to us, submitted for our approval on a daily basis here. And as I said before in one of my videos, we got to think for ourselves. Okay. While we're going broke, while we're giving money away, the federal government decides they have to worry about little nicotine pouches rather than worrying about how many pouches in our purses are going to be full again because they keep gouging and taking more money. Okay. Can the health minister not get his shit together and work for the people? No, of course not, because they all geared towards the party, just like Chrystia Freeland, just like Trudeau, just like everybody else, geared for the party, not for the people. Okay, ladies and gentlemen? Like I say, you decide. You decide. If you have a teenage boy, you don't want him having a cigarette, then tell him. Or if he's going to keep doing it, then he's going to buy it himself. Okay, that's what I was told. It's a filthy, disgusting habit. I am not encouraging anybody to do it. Okay. But then again, I believe in individual choices and individual liberty, period. You want to smoke? Smoke. You want to smoke a joint? Smoke a joint. Want to have that drink? Have a drink, right? Look at all the regulations when it comes to even drinking in this country too, okay? In Alberta, you have to be 18 years old to legally go purchase some alcohol, okay? Okay, you have to be 18. And I think it's the same in Quebec too. Everywhere else is 19 across the country. And as far as I know, in most of the United States, it's 21. Okay. And I think now you've got to be 18 to buy cigarettes. You've got to be 19 to buy cigarettes. Any kind of tobacco product whatsoever. Okay. But when you turn the age of 18, you're legally considered to be an adult. And you're legally allowed to sign up for your military, go to war if need be, put your ass on the line. You're allowed to pursue any career endeavor that you want to at the age of 18. And plus, you start paying taxes like a regular adults too. So while you're 18 years old and paying taxes, you still have the government telling you, you can't do this because we just don't agree with it. Even though there's tons of revenue that comes out of these things, hey? Tons of revenue that comes out of those little tobacco things. Tons of revenue. But they don't want you doing it. Even though this country is going broke and they'd rather promote the use of narcotics rather than just simple pleasures. Which is more lethal, folks, honestly. They're both filthy and vile and disgusting. I do feel bad for people that have had to rely on narcotics to get ahead because things are hard. And there's traumas out there where people do resort to alcohol and narcotics and other things, other vices. Which is better? Which is the lesser evil? Who knows? But we can all agree we don't need the government telling us which is evil, which is good, which is bad, which is terrible. We don't need that because we've seen the example. I just gave you an example of Mr. Mark Holland, where he sits in the world of Canadian politics, right? Why is the health minister standing up in Parliament 2 months ago defending the carbon tax? He's the health minister. What the fuck's he got to do with carbon taxes? Think about that, right? So you get a lot of these individuals who are not staying in their lanes, who are not staying anywhere other than with the good at the party. Sounds kind of socialist, doesn't it? Right? It does. Interesting. Interesting indeed, right? But see, this is what I'm going to do, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, I'm going to enjoy the fruits of my labors. Like I've said, folks, I'm not encouraging anybody to pick up a habit. If you want to quit, quit. If you don't want to quit, don't. It's your life. You do what you want. I'm also going to put this in 3Ds for you, too. Would you like some more tobacco? Perhaps more narcotics? Yeah. That was a terrible Dr. Tongue impression, but that's just honoring one of my heroes, John Candy. Anyhow, I think you see my point, ladies and gentlemen. It's not hard to figure out. Okay. Well, it's safe for people. These safe sites they keep talking about in Ontario, British Columbia, and even here in Alberta. What's safe about it? You're encouraging people to hide away, all at the taxpayer's expense. So here's somebody who can get uh, a blast, get high for what? You're just making the problems even longer too. Okay. When you look at a pack of these, you're seeing all these numbers, who you can call, help to get this, help to get that. That's great. That's great. How come they're not putting emphasis on help with people who are addicted? Why are they encouraging the so-called safe sites? Okay. How is that going to benefit people? They keep using the Portugal example. Now, what I understand the Portuguese example was they lessened the penalties on being caught with certain narcotics. They also lessened jail time and they lessened the fines. But they've also encouraged and they created programs, as far as I know, to help people get off the smack, get off the speed, get off everything else that's been brought to you by the powers that be. Okay. So you look at the taxation that's going on with the fact, or with these items. Okay. It's a joke. It's a joke. If the government was smart, they'll leave people alone, right? My father, he makes his own liquor. Okay. He just has his own still, makes his own recipes and all that. And I actually had some when I was on my holiday, and I tell you, wow, what a flavor that was. And he buys these little caps that adds flavor to his liquor, right? So you can have a whiskey flavor, you can have a rum flavor, right? You can have different varieties of rum flavors. You can have different varieties of whiskey flavors. Needless to say, you have a shot of that with the whiskey flavor and a Coke or a Coke Zero, whatever. What a great cocktail to have in the summer. And it costs him pennies when he puts it together. And when you look at the markups that every provincial and every federal jurisdiction has when it comes to buying a bottle of booze, you'd be surprised how much the government takes. Just like I mentioned, how much the government takes when you have a pack of smokes. Whether you buy 20s like my American friends do, or up here in Canada, you buy 25 packs, right? How much revenue does the government get in the name of healthcare, or in the name of roads, or in the name of this, name of that? It's all a goddamn joke, right? How much revenue do they make from the narcotics they're giving away in so-called safe sites, ladies and gentlemen? See, in some parts of the country, I can't walk down the street and have a beer in my hand, but oh no, I can sit there with a goddamn needle in my eyeball, talking to monsters, thinking everything's goddamn hunky-dory. The contrast is broken. The system's broken. I think we got to start fixing it.
Stay updated and follow Crusty Canuck on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, YouTube, and Podbean. Subscribe today and donate at crustycanuck.ca.
Anyhow, babies, ladies and gentlemen, you're back to episode 304, Safe versus Tax. I'm your host, Crusty Canuck. And just a reminder, too, if you're liking what you see, click like, subscribe, share this content on all of your social media platforms. Do not be shy, ladies and gentlemen. There'll be some changes coming at the podcast in the next little while, too. Like I said, I'm trying to get 3 episodes up a week to you. I'm back on my work schedule, too. So I'm back here, back there, working. It's like the 3 weeks I took off in Ontario just never happened. It just happened so quickly. Like I said, I'm grateful. I'm grateful for the people I've met. I'm grateful for hanging with my family and friends when I could, but it was really quick. So, but for you, my wonderful audience, I'm going to try to keep episodes up and running on a regular basis, the best of my ability. And I'm going to try to get out there more often too. And please consider donating if you can. Just follow the links in my description. There are many links in there you can click on. Donate $3, $5 a month if you can. Even $10 you can. There's incentive there too. Like I said, on my Buy Me a Coffee application, if you do spend $3 a month, you're automatically entered to win a t-shirt or a hat or both. And if you donate $10 or more a month, you'll be entered to win a cap, t-shirt, and a swimsuit. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. 3 items for $10. So take a chance. If you don't win, well, hey, you always donate again the next month too. So that's the incentive I'm going to have there. So use the Buy Me a Coffee app. It's right there in my description if you can, and send a comment, whatever. Even if you don't want to donate, that's fine too. Please give me comments on my Rumble and my Tube page, as well as my Podbean page too. Give me a thumbs up, give me a like, send me some comments. Don't be shy. Help the Canucks. That's myself, other veterans, and other people that create good Canadian content. Help us keep the algorithm going So Bill C-63 does not see the light of day, ladies and gentlemen. It takes wonderful people like you to make that happen. So see what smoking does? Don't do it, kid. Don't do it. But hey, your body, your choice. Anyway, carrying on with this episode. So we've talked about the contradictions. We've talked about the hypocrisies that have been just been going full on. I'm not going to say that magical word, the big R word, full on kind of, ridiculous. But where does it end? Okay. Where does it end, ladies and gentlemen? Where is it going to end with all this garbage, all this feral garbage, all this toxic garbage, all this crap when it comes to our feds telling us what to do again with our bodies? Okay. We got the big hype going in the States with Kamala and Joe and Trump and people who are for, people who are against, people like him, people hate him, people like her, people hate her. But we're seeing a lot of people just going to get along. Just go along to get along. Kind of like what happened during the pandemic, right? Go along to get along. Let's not go along to get along. Let's get along to standards that meet the needs of a lot of people. Let's go along and get to the standards where everyone can live and do their thing without worrying about how many taxes are here and how many taxes are there. How about we have a government that's not going to worry about how much money I have or how much money you have? Because they're in charge of the money, and look what they did with it. Right? Look what they did with it.
Where's the money, Catherine?
Exactly. Billions gone here, billions gone there. Yet they're worried about a handful of kids who might buy certain pouches and have some fun time in flavor country. Right? They should be worried about defense of this nation, should be worried about getting the dollar back in order, and should be worried about proper housing. And they should cut back on this ridiculous immigration policies they keep promoting. Okay? That's just my 2 cents, ladies and gentlemen. What's yours? Let me know in the comments. Let me know when you give me a thumbs up. Let me know when you give me a comment. Right? It's that simple, ladies and gentlemen. And don't be shy. Anyhow, I have been Crusty Canuck on this beautiful 25th of August, 2024. I wish good things for you all out there. Don't be shy, ladies and gentlemen. Stand your ground, stand firm, and just be yourselves. There's still some good summer weather coming. There's still some good summer weather out there. So get out there and enjoy it with your family and friends. Another long weekend's coming up this weekend. So get out there, get your final water ski in, your final boating trip in, scuba dive, whatever. Just enjoy the weather. And don't forget to help each other in these trying times. Just try to be good to people and just stand up for common sense. That is all. I will try to get an episode up sometime in the next few days. However, but like I said, I'm going to try to get episodes up 3 times a week for you all out there. So don't be shy. Give me a thumbs up, comment, share this podcast all over your social media platforms, and stand for what's right. Stand for your friends, your family, and just try to be good to people to the best of your ability. Like I said, do what you can these trying times, and humanity and merit wins the day. Take care, and I'll see you next time, ladies and gentlemen. Bye for now.
Hit it, sweetheart. Because I am hard, you will not like me. Yes, sir. There is no racial bigotry here. Here you are all equally worthless.
This has been another episode of the Crusty Canuck podcast. Stay sane and thank you for listening. From Western Canada, this is the Crusty Canuck podcast.
Mama said I had a face for radio.